Today, aka Padders, the greatest era of American comics, what we like to call the deconstruction period. We have Watchmen, we have Dark Knight Returns, and we have Constellation graphics. These two inspired this. Let's get into it. So this is a absolute creative boom time in American comic books. Today we're talking about Constellation graphics. Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Peter A. DeLuca, aka Pad69, coming to you from the great Philadelphia, PA, where we just had the Phils lose against the Mets in 4 games in the NLDS. And, well, other than drinking myself into a stupor, we're here to read comic books. Constellation graphics. This is the first appearance of Ultiman. He's the guy on the cover. This is an anthology. We have relatively a bunch of creators getting together to make a book. Before we hit the drawing table, let me be clear. 1986, 1987 is the creative boom of American comic books. That boom, that shockwave, really goes to the 2000s. During this time, producing your own comic book was tough. You had to be a tough person to do it. Nowadays, everything's digital. We have the internet. You can recruit talent. It's far easier. A couple direct messages or email threads can get you a book. Publishing, you had minimums at this point. The minimum for this could be $3,000, $5,000, $2,000. This most likely was printed locally because it's a little bit longer. A lot of local printers couldn't cut to comic book size. This is a task today, so it's hard. We can't compare it to what we get today. So why are we talking about this? Because I want to remind all of you the real effort it takes to put together a comic book and to look back at the time where when you did your own book, it was to emulate what DC was doing at 1986, 1987, which was like true superheroes. The deconstruction of the industry, the deconstruction of characters, or the dark age of characters isn't quite here yet. These are a bunch of guys that want to create the next American icon, and we're going to pay attention to it. So let's hit that drawing table. Yeah, look, aka Padders. There's something to understand. This is an independent comic book. This is an independent comic book from 1986. Independent comics will forever be confused with the next generation. The next generation, the people that work in DC and Marvel through this era, they break away, they form Image Comics, and they produce something like Stormwatch. And Stormwatch, issue 1, and keep in mind, this is a new publisher. The quality is different. Look, and we have even Cyberforce here, another new book. Cyberforce 3, like 3 issues. There was an age of independent comics that, let me just show you guys. It looked like this. It looked like this. And here's what happened. For some reason, there's people that make an industry dunking on this. They do it with movies too. And I get it. It's fun, but we're losing the forest through the trees. This book, and I just want to show it off. You know, we're going to get into some of the artwork and some of the story. I just want to flip through it and show you guys what this looks like. It's 3 stories. It's hard to know the differences. So this is an anthology. See, like we move into Wild Star here. So it's a little bit tough to know we're in 3 separate stories. Because some of the backgrounds look the same. But look, we have an advertisement to be continued. Constellation Graphics 3, which did come out. Yes, we will do that on this channel. And we get, look, guys like Bill Willingham does a cover for the next issue. And we just get ideas. And this type of work, this type of book, is really where Rob Liefeld, Eric Larson, Jim Valentino came through. So all of these guys that did their nice, cool, fun Image Comics, all the Image Comics guys, they came up through this. But then what would happen, the next generation, kind of everyone's book looked like this. So there is a stepping stone. But this Ultiman here, this blew my mind. Tell me if this isn't a introduction template. Tell me where you have seen some of these ideas before. So here's what's happening. NASA was unable to prepare a space shuttle in time to readjust the satellite's orbit. Blah, blah, blah. Little hope. Out of nowhere, right? Ultiman comes. He saves the city. The satellite is about to crash. Now, here's the wild thing. When we look at the curvature, see, like the satellite, right? It kind of breaks down a little, right? It becomes a little bit more like a crescent moon. And that crescent moon is very similar to the one that we get in Stormwatch. Now, given like this is its broken, crashing to Earth form, but come on, right? It's kind of cool. But yeah, so Ultiman comes out of nowhere. He saves the city. And then they rush to like a press conference. And the press conference ends with the government revealing Ultiman. Just like I Am Iron Man in the 2008 Tony Stark Iron Man, right? The launch of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The idea that we introduce a Superman archetype in this fashion, we saw that in Superman Returns. We saw that in Man of Steel, right? Now, given this is a little bit of John Byrne, Man of Steel, but it's solidified with this because this is a riff, this is an interpretation, and things have to get emulated along the way. Hey guys, look, FYI too, the Earth is a globe. So any flat earthers out there, I apologize. So that's like story number 1. Story number 2 is Vision Quest. It's a little tougher to follow, but we have like a bunch of people. Right, like they kind of look like these, like they're Akira inmates, right? They're all maybe in like lab gear, right? Like it's kind of like they were held up, but they give you a little bit of backstory. These people escape, then they're pursued by 3 helicopters, and I love stuff like this. I love where, as a creator, you have big ideas and you have to, like, you want this shot. You want this shot of the 3 helicopters, right? Like you want Airwolf and Blue Thunder. Like you want the cool looking helicopters, but you have to draw this. You have to draw this. And you want this to be more dramatic, but you end up with this. There's a struggle that I absolutely love with some of these indie books. But one dude here, Scatter, I'll draw their attention. He literally just shoots down. Again, we're having trouble drawing helicopters, but he shoots down the helicopter. Helicopter crashes. I like some of the negative spaces here. And we see with the reproduction. See, like, now you flying freak. Some of the lettering. The lettering kind of gets lost. But yeah, he gets 2 of the helicopters. I guess he gets them to smash into one another. I do like this panel where it's like the explosion and then it's the sound effect. But essentially, his sister gets shot from someone who survives a helicopter crash. And then he walks up and he makes a dude like see his like future. Wait. What did you do to him? I showed him his death. Well. A day maybe you're not such a wimp after all. And it says a day. See, like some of the lettering. But yeah, so essentially, like, yeah, maybe this guy was a wimp at one point, but now he's tough. And they're like, hey, we gotta save my sister. We have to go back to Vegas. So like, it's a cool couple pages. We just don't have. We talk about needing captions. Would be nice if we had some captions here. Ultiman explains everything. Like, we have good captions. We do have 2 wasted pages here. And then we have Wildstar. And this is essentially a guy that wrote a book. It took him 6 years to reveal the book. He's being interviewed by the press. But then we kind of see a little bit of a flashback that this is the guy. Like, the guy that potentially the book is about. And he walks away from the interview and he's like, I remember. And he just starts blasting things. He shoots past the window. This dude sees Wildstar, makes a call, and right here. And Chambers, I don't want him brainwashed this time. I want him dead. So I guess he was brainwashed for 6 years, but he writes a book. And then, yeah, just look, he's flying all around the world. And he's like, why? He's like flipping out. Nothing but this garbage. Why did you do this to me? Why? And then he goes, who? You? It's all over, traitor. And then we get kind of like the AmeriCorps, which is like, you know, like, see, they got the American symbol. And that's it. Like, that's Constellation Graphics, issue 1. And I don't know. We see even here, like, this origin of a superhero that is of a golden age waking up in the modern world. Very Watchmen. And I'm not saying Watchmen directly influenced all these. This is more the middle piece. Is a little bit more the Vision Quest. This is a little bit. It's not superhero deconstruction, but this is a little bit of what you would expect during the time. Just where we have a bunch of lab rats, essentially, you know, and we got lab rats and a lot of straight to VHS movies and it's entertaining though. And Ultiman, I do feel like, is a little bit of an origin template that's pretty tight. And just to showcase this, like, this is, see, you can kind of tell, right? Like, this was printed locally. Look how much longer it is. Because, like, you would have to go local to print this. You'll have to find someone to print this for you. And, you know, maybe in Diamond Comics, Baltimore, Maryland. Right, these guys are out of Texas. Jeff Keir. Garland, Texas. Right, like, you would have to go down the street and start knocking on doors. And the minimum for this was probably pretty high. And this was pretty expensive. And Diamond probably wanted 2 issues done. So you had to invest in 2 issues. Almost invest in the printing for 2 issues. Because you would kind of sell this and use the money for issue 2. And if this didn't sell, you didn't do an issue 3. So Diamond, at one point, I remember they were up to 4 issues in the can. I think they went down to, well, I think it was 6, then 4. Like, if you had 4 issues in the can, it's just stuff like that. You know, like, it was hard to do independent comic books at one time. And I think this is, it's a good effort by people who just wanted to do it. And I don't know. I don't like looking people up sometimes because you get upset if they're not on social media, or if you find out that they're working as a electrician or something, because you want people to stay creative. But let this be said. You know, like, you can't slow down. You have to keep going. I want to get issue 2. I want to bring you guys issue 2 of this.